I was blind. I couldn't see what he was gonna do next. I was sweating, panicking. It was only the look of horror on my friend's face as she saw his arm reel back, the reflection bare deep in the mirror of her irises, the hand. Have you ever had a reality check? This story takes place around the time I had just moved to Zambia. You see, I was born and raised in South Africa, and just around the time when I turned 13, I moved back to the motherland. And it's not necessarily that I didn't like Zambia, but rather, I had a good thing going back in South Africa. Casper Nyovest didn't feel like Doc Shibaleza, Nasty C didn't yet have his juice back, and vuvuzelas were still a thing. So moving to Zambia was a complete... And when I got here, I couldn't accept that I was here. I couldn't ground myself in the reality of the life that I left behind. And I couldn't get used to the Zambian way of life. Like, why? Why are these people obsessed with Hungarian sausage? You see, in SA, I went to a prep school, a preparatory school, a school that was focused on making the best of the best. Bright, disciplined kids befitting the titles of leaders, athletes, and entrepreneurs. So why? Why do I emphasize this? Simply to say this, as an African school, they didn't beat the shit out of us. Discipline was more of a stern talking to, nothing too drastic. I had never witnessed or been on the receiving end of a belt, fist, palm stick, shoe, shambok, book, ruler, or any other weaponry a teacher might use on a student. Until I came to Zambia. As opposed to my angelic South African prep school that treated their kids like, well, their kids, my particular Zambian high school didn't give a shit about your human rights. Discipline? By talking? If there was a problem with a child, my school's form of student counseling was slaps. So I, having never been handled by a teacher before, I wasn't ready to get acquainted with any sort of martial art that they knew. Now, the good manners that I got from SA, I brought to my new school, which made me a candidate for class monitor. And for those of you who don't know, you would assume that the role of class monitor would be something of admiration, great achievement, leadership role. SAT! The more appropriate name for a class monitor, at least in my high school, would be referred to as designated snitch. They were agents of teachers and their sole job was to write down names of troublemakers and submit said names for punishment if and when it happened. Now, me being the new kid from a different country and the newly appointed class monitor, you'll get a recipe for the perfect way to not only to not make friends, but also to make enemies. I didn't want to be hated, but I was put in a bit of a position because I belonged to the most notorious class in the entire school. One day I was in the classroom probably doing my work or something, and just on cue, someone said, Someone started banging on the table. Some guy singing Bruno Mars' greatest hits, and another guy is unleashing a 12-hit combo on a wall. My class was the definition of chaos. People were making noise, too much noise, and noise attracts attention, so much so that uns. Huh?
Ben.
Mr. Kakoza was a teacher you didn't want to mess with. He was an ex-military officer with a hulking frame, wearing a permanent look of anger on his face, proudly sporting the standard issue, bulletproof beer belly prescribed to every middle-aged African man. And just like his military days, in school, he took no prisoners.
The one who was making noise, come here. Who was making that noise? You were making noise. Eh?
No, sir, I wasn't making noise.
Oh, then tell me who was making noise.
I wasn't really paying attention, sir.
Oh? You weren't paying attention. Stand up.
But sir,
Stand up.
Sir, I wasn't making noise.
Tell me who was making noise.
Sir, I don't know.
Okay, then I shall beat you. Bad boy. Bad boy. Bad boy. The boy is finished.
Mr. Kakoza was a vicious guy. Once he set his sights on you, it was a done deal. You wouldn't like your ass to interact with any chair after the fact. And he said once again,
Who was making that noise? You grenade, you think I'm mad, huh? This is an institution. You can't be making such noises if you're a drunkard in a bar. You.
huh?
You are the class monitor, eh?
Yeah, I am.
Then tell me who was making noise.
Sad, this one, man. I'm sad, man.
I'm waiting. You what?
I don't know.
Yeah? You don't know? Come here.
Sir, but I don't know who was making noise.
You think I'm mad, huh? You don't think I can beat you also? Because you're the class monitor, eh? Young man.
No, sir,
You think I'm stupid, huh? Come. Put your hands here.
I got up and followed him. Being so up close to Kakoza, he towered over me, but it wasn't him per se that frightened me. It was his hands. His hands that snatched the souls of soldiers on the battlefield and the asses of children in classrooms alike. Those hands. They weren't human! When my backside was turned to him, I couldn't see him. I couldn't even turn my head to anticipate when the next slap would reach, so I could lessen the damage by flexing my ass muscles. You know that little dance that people do? As if it's the copper belt. I was blind. I couldn't see what he was gonna do next. I was sweating, panicking. It was only the look of horror on my friend's face as she saw his arm reel back, the reflection buried deep in the mirror of her irises, the hand coming down at me, my ass hardening, bracing itself. But I felt no impact. Nothing. I turned to the vice principal. His hand was still at his side, dangling, stalking, waiting. His face still bearing the look of Lucifer. Then he tried to hit me, but it was only a dummy. Then I realized what was happening. Fear ghosted through me as the revelation became more clear and clear in my mind. Before he would beat me physically, he was gonna beat me psychologically. He wanted to break down my mind first before he sent me to the grave. He wanted to strip me of my prep boy pride, and then when I was nothing, when I was just another one of his students, just another one of his subjects, once he broke me, that's when he would end me. My class monitor status didn't mean shit. I was here. This was it. From now on, I wasn't in South Africa anymore. I was in...
You can go sit.
Ah?
You didn't hear me?
No, I...
Go.
Thank you?
Ben boy!
Zambia. I'm gonna be here for a long time. And that's a wrap. Thank you for watching to the end. If you haven't liked, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and comment down below. What's the worst weaponry you've been beaten by? You know, the palm is really, it's a magical thing. I'm also going to be launching a fan of the episode campaign where I sketch you out and put your picture amongst the credits section to be the #1 fan. Last episode's winner was Hurricane Jane. She was the most engaging. To win the next episode credit feature, all you have to do is follow me on Instagram and like and share this video on your Instagram story, as well as mentioning me. That's all it takes. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.